mod version. Like it must not have updated to his most recent update, is what it was.
And while I wait for this, thank you again to the effect for also a tier 1. Oh, thank you for a tier 1 subscription for 6 months in advance. That is really
Jeez!
badass.
That's the
Thank
second
you,
one of
thank you.
those today.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Glad you're enjoying enough to want to do it for 6 months in advance. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, so let me do this.
Reveal map all.
I'm making a quick change just so we can make sure, because Fatal Owl mentioned that he could tell when the game ended, so I blocked that so that that doesn't happen again. Okay, so we've got an English versus Mongols on Tempe. And we see immediately starting out that Buzz Blaze is going straight for the Men-at-Arms push. Now, this is
very risky, is it not? What did you say?
I think this is a very risky play. It is going to pay off, and I'm very curious what Bruh's going to do. Because if this gold mine had been right next to the Mongol TC, then this just puts English so far behind, right? Because you can't push a Mongol off gold if it's by his town center. So this is going to force a... What?
Oh my god, the Khan is so close to going down. 12 health.
Oh, that would have been really bad.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, I noticed Buzzblade immediately went directly to the opposite side and wanted to scout out Bruh's base, and noticed, you know, not only the Uvu, but I think the gold placement's the key thing, and now sees the stables being dropped.
Yeah, so now there's a stable. Obviously, Bruh did scout the barracks, so he knows men-at-arms are coming, and I don't know if horsemen are the answer. I actually don't know what the best response to this would be. I mean,
typically you'd like to think that he could just move his TC over 1 or 2 tiles and range out that men-at-arms, but he's already killed a deer carcass, which will not allow him to place that TC down a tile or 2 over. So I'm not really sure if the horseman's the right call either, but he needs to do something, or else the Uvu goes down, and not only that, he can't grab gold.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, as Mongols, I'm not sure what you can do, because at least with other civs, what you can do, because your town center is always close to the gold, you can, at worst case scenario, you can throw down a tower if you need to secure your main gold. He can't do that because it's not in town center. Like, it's his, he couldn't defend the tower with his town center.
Yeah, I'm honestly really worried for Bruh. This could just be one of those games where, like, the opening comes out, the second man-at-arms is here now with his torch to come start helping, and I'm sure, oh, there's a third on the way, and I mean, Buzzblaze, the longer this happens, the more delay the age-up comes out for Bruh, and he's going to be English eco behind this and can start pressuring with longbows, or can transition to spears once he hits feudal.
Yeah, and Buzz, recognizing the situation, has made 3 men-at-arms. I don't think 2 horsemen is enough, and Bruh does not. I don't think he has the stone to keep making double horsemen. So he might be able to get another 2 out, but I don't know. I don't think 4 horsemen beat 3 men-at-arms.
Yeah, not only that, it's, you know, it's the equivalency on either side too. Is you're forcing Mongols to use their stone early, you're forcing them to use their food just how you use food on your men-at-arms, and now they've used the same amount of food that you have on your men-at-arms, but you've delayed their eco, you're attacking their villagers on gold, you're causing idle time, and just a ton of damage.
And look, he had the he tried to go for the gold, and he tried to sneak a gold, but Buzz is on top. He's like, nah, you're not getting a gold. And now Bruh's trying to raid with these horsemen, but Buzz is already on top of it. He has a men-at-arm next to it. This isn't going to do anything.
Villagers went back out. I don't know why. Bruh must have accidentally shift-clicked them, but those 3 villagers on gold ran back out, and all 3 go down for no reason at all. And this early in the game, I mean, that's like 20% of your eco.
That's brutal. I mean, he's now behind by 3 villagers, no gold income, and he's having to make horsemen to try to regain that gold.
And even with this horseman he has, he's effectively denying the scout, which you might not think is much, but it is huge because now those men-at-arms don't know where to run. They don't know where the horsemen are, and they're very, very slow and lack mobility. And this is where Bruh can maybe just find the ability to clear out the rest of these and stabilize just a bit.
Yeah, he might be able to. I think he is going to be able to clean these up, but I think the damage has more than been done. He's behind by 3 villagers. I mean, Buzz is going to be aging up here soon. He's got 9 villagers on gold, so he's got maybe another 30, 40 seconds before he starts aging, and I think that's at most. And actually, we see more men-at-arms coming in. He is not going to be able to clean those up and secure gold. Or actually, he already did secure the gold. I didn't see that.
He's on gold. Next 2 drop-offs, they'll have enough. He's kind of trying to draw him, it looks like, into town center range, but he shouldn't be drawing him back to that other gold vein.
I was about to say, drawing them to the gold vein is not what he wants.
I would try to draw him into the town center fire, and then this is just gonna, like, the men-at-arms, they don't know where to run right now. You can clearly tell that Buzzblaze, he's like, which gold is he on? Is he on the west one, on the east one? Doesn't really know. And I think these next, like, 3 or 4 men-at-arms that he made were more of a waste, and he should have just kind of had his lead at what he had.
Okay, so here's where we're seeing Buzzblaze making, in my opinion, a mistake.
Oh.
He's going the Abbey of Kings. I think this is a mistake for... I mean, I think in general you don't want to go this landmark, but I think it's a mistake in this game in particular. He knows that he's denied his opponent gold. He knows his opponent isn't aging for... You know, I mean, he's now aging now, but he's behind him. If this was the Council Hall, he can push with longbow and spears, and he can deny this gold for probably indefinitely.
Yeah, and one of the huge benefits is usually when you're building the council hall, you have to end up, you know, waiting 150 wood to drop the barracks, which sometimes will delay that longbow production a little bit, or you'll kind of have to choose between spears and longbows. But at this point in the game,
he's already got the barracks.
Yeah, he's already got the barracks, and he's going to be more, he would have been more than happy enough to just continually produce longbows, have a couple men-at-arms out still, and then have the spearmen to protect his longbows as well. I mean, he would have been very, very nice, but now he only has the barracks that he's sitting on. He's about to have his gold denied as well.
Yeah, and if I was Mongols and I scouted this, I would actually breathe a sigh of relief because I now know that even though this was a disastrous opening, you know that there's not going to be further pressure once Buzz hits feudal. So you know that you can go fast castle. He even canceled his outpost because he recognized he scouted the Abbey of Kings, and there's no reason to make an outpost anymore.
You say that, but there are still 3 more men-at-arms. But once, if they're not upgraded, and if Bruh decides to get the horseman upgrade, the horseman would clear it out a lot better. But not really sure. Nope. We'll see how much damage they end up doing. Let's see.
No, and I do think he should have still probably finished the outpost. But the other thing is he doesn't. Oh, I just realized he just hit feudal age. I thought I thought he was already there, so he can't even like make archers or anything. Like now he's trying to make a tower here, but this, if Buzz sees this, he can. Yeah, exactly. That's not going up.
I think he just moves back for the other gold at this point. No scout. There's no scout on the side of Buzzblaze.
Yeah, and I think if Bruh had kept that tower up, I mean these men-at-arms might have still done damage, but he might have been able to go castle because he was close to castle.
Good little micro, good little reverse damage.
Yeah. If he had been able to stop himself from getting caught off guard with those men-at-arms, I actually think the fast castle from Bruh was going to come in pretty quickly, and it would have put him in a decent spot. But now, I think it's gone back to a potential comeback. I think it's kind of gone away almost. I think at this point, it's looking really bad.
Buzzblaze just continually keeps making those men-at-arms. Again, I think if you're Bruh, you just leave this gold and go for another one. But it's just continually going for this. He has his horsemen that are about to circle around and collapse. The horsemen are upgraded. The men-at-arms are still early men-at-arms.
Nope, they are upgraded as well.
Oh, they are? I thought I just clicked it.
You're thinking Vanguard men-at-arms are the Dark Age men-at-arms.
Vanguard. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, and those men-at-arms do pretty well. I think Bruh's gonna be able to hold this off. But now look, Buzz is really close to going Castle Age, and Bruh was close to Castle Age until his gold got denied. So he
Yeah.
would have been Castle Age by now, whereas and could have gotten the relics, and I think made a comeback from there.
Yeah, and I think he even still, a lot of times you'll see Wheelbarrow get delayed until Castle. He went ahead and got Wheelbarrow during this transition, just because he kind of had that awkward amount of gold that he was just sitting there with, which getting closer to being able to drop Castle Age himself, probably at a pretty equivalent timing than English, but English is gonna already have a few farms and still have that eco lead just by a bit now. But Bruh should have been, what, a minute and a half ahead of time, it feels like, of Castle Age?
Oh yeah, he should have been Castle Age. He should have Knights on the field and probably grabbing his first relic at least by now. Those men-at-arms did so much damage, and that second group did far more than I expected it to.
Yep, double pastures drop for Bruss. Gonna start getting sheep in, so the long-term food eco won't be as much of a worry. But it's not like these are on top of the Uvu. They're not gonna be mass producing out, and he didn't get them down way earlier like you'll see some people do. Couple spears protecting the gold this time, protecting the King's Palace. So those few horsemen will not be too successful, but King's Palace has been spotted out. Brun knows exactly what to expect, and I still even think, you know, seeing everything that's gone down, it feels like Bruh should be a lot further behind than he actually is.
I was just about to comment on that. Honestly, I'm actually surprised that the villager lead is only 2 now. It was bigger, so I'm guessing that Buzz had some idle time in his town center. Maybe he housed himself, because it went from like a 3-4 villager lead to they're only 2, and they're both going Castle Age at the same time. Now, English is going to have that second TC, so that's really going to kick in. So it's very interesting, because I really, like, it looked so bad for Bruh, but somehow it's looking like he's not in that bad of a spot, even though, like I said, if he had gotten that early Castle Age, I think I would call him ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think if he had, I mean, it was literally, it felt like a minute and a half earlier that he should have ended up having this, which means Lancers are pressuring eco. It means the King's Palace might not even go down or safe or as quick as it does, as usually there would have been some idle time forced, and there would already be relics into the bank too.
Yep, I gotta say, Buzz made some risks this game. Like, the early men-at-arms is so risky, because if this game goes way differently if that gold was in the range of the town center, right? I mean, and those men-at-arms do nothing. And that's almost, not going to say game, but that puts him so far behind if that had happened. It was like he's taken a couple gambles, and it's really paid off for him.
Yes, it has. Bruh, though, he feels okay. He's somewhat stabilized. The villagers on the Stepped Redoubt, though, are still very vulnerable, as there's not a tower on top of the gold. And I think he really regrets deleting that original tower, as those couple men-at-arms would not have done nearly enough as much damage. He invested more into it, as he had to build an additional tower and had a ton of idle time.
Yep, and we see Knights coming out for both players. We do not see from Bruh, we do not see the monastery yet, so we no relic gathering. And whereas English has his monastery, and he's going for that first relic soon.
Yeah, and not only will it be relics, there are 4 sacred sites on this map, so you can really give yourself an additional boost. Prayer tent being dropped by Bruh now, and a men-at-arms idling off of gold. Just one single man-at-arms idling about 15 villagers.
Yep. But a knight came out, so took care of it, so it's not the biggest deal. Bruh has 600 gold, so that idle time really, like, it sucks, but he wasn't starving for gold at this point.
No, not at all. And kind of both of these players are macroing with, it seems like, trying to raid and trying to cause some annoyance on the other side, but really gearing up for a bigger fight later in the game and securing these long-term resources.
Yeah, and how many knights do we have for each player? 5 for Buzz, 5 for Bruh, so they're both pretty equal right now. Although, we're seeing some villagers go down, and we're seeing an 11 villager lead. We see
Buzz raiding the gold, but not only the gold, he's sending knights into the wood line under the TC at the same time. Bruh, at the same time, he's doing raids with his lancers on the opposite side. So it just, it feels like a little French game, but the villagers under the main Mongol TC have not been reacted to yet.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? Yeah, so that did a lot of damage. And Buzz, oh, more villagers being lost on the gold here.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. Bruh has not been able to breathe. Yes, he might be getting picks of some of those knights, but I think the knights are very much paying themselves off when we've seen this Vil count just completely turn upside down.
And the thing that sucks is there's no gold, like the relics aren't coming in for Bruh, right? We see Buzz has already taken a relic, whereas right now there's no relics for Bruh, so he doesn't have that nice to say, hey, I may be down villagers, but I have 3 or 4 relics plus the step readout. He's only got the step readout, which hasn't been in use for the past like minute.
Yeah, and the trading under TC fire definitely favors Buzzblaze, as he is English, has his multiple TCs next to each other, so those arrows are coming out like machine guns. Yeah, they might not do much damage to Lancers, but it's the same. It's going to be doing more than the Mongol TCs and arrow slits outposts.
Yeah, and we're I think we're hearing the first relic being grabbed by Bruh, or was that by
nope,
by Buzz? Yep.
No. Second and third by Buzzblaze.
Yep, second and third. This is really, really bad.
That's usually where Mongol can kind of get their leg up. They hit castle, they get their relics in. And, yeah, bruh, he just says, all right, let me get this game behind me. Let's put this one past and just get on to the next.
Yeah, that was a game that, oh man, that was just like Bro almost made it like a really good comeback with that fast castle timing he was gonna have, but those 3 men at arms just really killed him. I think that's any chance of coming back ended when those men at arms denied his gold for so long.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. The if he hadn't shift clicked those 3 original gold vills back, the earlier kind of push by Buzzblaze wouldn't have felt as successful, as he didn't really get. He got a lot of idle time, but didn't really get a ton of damage. But the 3 vills that early causes a significant loss.
Yep. Yeah, losing 3 villagers early is never good. I mean, the fact that the villager lead wasn't bigger for English was really surprising, and yeah, that was definitely very interesting. An interesting game. I'm sure Bruh was very not happy with how that game came out for him. And I bet he really regrets canceling that tower.
Yeah, that tower was a big feels bad. Make sure to just invite me again. I was seeing if it was like the play again where I wait for you, but it's not. It's just you have to reinvite me every time.
Yeah, I'm looking for you, but I'm not seeing you for some reason.
You have too many friends now. This is the whole tournament goal. Oh, you should pass me. I was under Miss Sibs.
You're under Miss Sibs? Oh, there you are. Can we vote for the next match to see? Yeah, if Sniper or Zero, if you want to put a prediction, or I guess I don't know what vote to put for that. Just give suggestions and we'll see after this series.
/poll is what you do.
Yeah, a poll would be nice, but I don't know what matches are going on. All right, let's go into okay, so we're gonna go into game 2. Yeah, Buzzblaze, by the way, at least when I played him early on in AoE4, he was a very unique player, so he does play a little differently than other players. Okay, so let's get into that game number 2. Okay, so Sniper can't do a poll. We'll just figure it out after this series, and we can decide as together, chat. Okay, so we have Delhi versus HRE on Basin, right? Yep, Basin.
Yeah. And I really like this this kind of Civ selection draft by Bruh, because as anyone knows, this is probably one of the more one-sided matchups in the game, with HRE being heavily favored and Basin being a quite popular Delhi map. He might have just been expecting this and goes, okay, I know a good matchup for this and I have a plan going in, and he got his HRE, which is the favorable choice.
To be honest, I don't know if I think it's that big anymore. I used to think I think it was for a while, very HRE favored, but I think Delhi players, or at least the ones that mainly play Delhi, have kind of figured out how to play this matchup, at least from what I've seen. I'm not saying it's Delhi favor or anything, but I don't think it's as bad for Delhi as it used to be. But I could be wrong, and maybe that's just my little experience in it. It's not like I've seen that much of this matchup, to be fair.
Well, only time will tell. We'll see if Bruh doesn't, if he doesn't lose those 3 villagers early like last game. He might be finding himself in a really big different positioning. We all know how you feel about Delhi.
Yes, yes. Only one of my least, actually my least favorite civ in the entire game.
I feel like it used to be Chinese, but maybe that was just a play.
No, it was China when back when China was all about massing that siege, and that's all you did because that was like the best way to win. But China's one of my favorites ever since the season patch where China became viable in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they are a very cool civilization, but here, you know, will we end up seeing what is very popular with the HRE against Delhi, which is that Burgrave Palace fast castle?
You know, and interestingly enough, not Buzz opened up very differently than I was expecting. He actually made a lumber camp, gathered some wood, got the upgrades, and then he is just now going on gold, which is a lot later than normal. Whereas Bruh, by the way, is starting to age up right now at 224. And he's aging up with 8 villagers.
Oh, he's doing the Don Artie build. I love this build. So you age up, you put the chapel, fast build it with like 8 villagers as you see, on top of wood and stone. Immediately second TC, which is like, we'll end up coming down at like the 5 minutes and some change mark. Like when you first start dropping it, your age up comes in at like 3 something, and you go into the Burgrave with 2 TC production behind it that you're actually able to support men-at-arms production. A lot of times with Fast Castle, you hit Burgrave and you can produce like 4 or 5, and then you're like, all right, it's now just sitting there. But with this, you can really actually support the production.
Yeah, and what's interesting is this is almost done, and Buzz is just now starting his age up. And interestingly enough, Buzz took his gold villagers off to go for the Dome of Faith. So he's not going to have gold for a scholar when this landmark finishes. Which is very interesting because usually you want to keep a few on gold so that when this Dome of Faith finishes, you have a scholar immediately being made, but that's not going to happen this game.
Yeah, very odd. And what I'm afraid of is I'm wondering how much resources in the bank as far as wood and stone Bruh's gonna have by the time Buzz finishes his landmark. Is he gonna have that second TC already going down by the time the Dome of the Faith finishes?
Yeah, I mean, he might, honestly. We're a little over halfway, and we're at halfway to the getting a town center from Bruh here.
It's a very scary positioning if you think about kind of this point that the Delhi, we were already talking about a matchup that favors the opposite side.
And we're seeing a second mill next to the berries to shorten that gather time, or that walking time to gather those berries. You don't really see that very often because typically I feel like you want to spend that wood elsewhere or use that to get it on hunts or something.
Yeah, very odd. I actually was talking to someone earlier about doing, when you place your TC as a Bassid, you put a mill on the opposite side, so it makes it more efficient, but usually I won't see the double mill on berries. Yeah,
and we're seeing Bruh moving, looking like he wants that second TC by that boar is my guess. And if he does it here, Buzz can snag that boar and drag it to the villagers. But he's opting to just try to hit the town center instead.
Yeah, he hasn't done it yet, but luckily enough for oh, there it is, the boar bull. It's on top of the scout. The prelate's starting to heal it up. He needs to tank it with the scout, not the villagers.
Yep. Although
he just kills it. He kills it.
Yeah, he's just gonna kill it because he can heal. Yeah, that villager's not gonna go down.
Oh my gosh, healing OP.
Healing is OP. And now let's look at. So yeah, and I noticed, by the way, it's 5 minutes and 50 seconds in the game, and we still don't have a second scholar on the way for Buzz because of that no gold gathering age up.
Bruh misclicked and started gathering with all of those vills except one.
Maybe he wants to get that food and then make the TC.
All right. You know, prove me wrong.
Yeah, and we're seeing double blacksmith, horsemen coming out. The kind of the way that we've been seeing. Oh, look at the villagers. Yep, he didn't notice. But one thing we're seeing from Delhi players is they're gonna go horsemen, and what they try to do is avoid the men at arms and try to like harass the eco of the HRE player, which can be very
This
annoying.
makes me feel a little better when I play. I make these mistakes all the time. It makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, it always sucks to do this in a tournament.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The crazy
But,
thing
you know,
is, he could have sent Horseman in and actually done some damage potentially. Now, to be
Yeah.
fair, he would have noticed that sooner, but that town center wasn't close to finish for a while.
First Horseman diving in on the berries around the chapel, which isn't in range of the town center. It kind of is. But Vil goes down.
Yep.
No reaction yet from Bruh. Oh,
Now,
no.
to be fair, I do think it's very late for Bruh as well. I think it is for both of them actually. So they may not be playing in peak form, depending on what time it is for them. So.
Only 2 Vils went down. Luckily, it was only 1 Horseman. The other 3 were sitting there kind of just not too far away. Bruh spots out the other mass, starts to draw it away, and kind of gives himself some opportunity to breathe. Has a barracks behind this, so it's not the quicker Burgrave play, but the huge... Oh my gosh. The villagers on the boar idling.
Yeah, I was going to say that Horseman was probably the best Horseman in the entire game of Age of Empires 4. Two dead villagers, and then 8 idle villagers right now that are not gathering off that board. They are just sitting there chilling. And now Bruh has seen it and is making the corrections now.
Yeah, and the problem with this TC, like, yes, it secures up this middle sacred site and denies it from your opponent. And it just, the villagers that pop out of it don't have a quick place to go. They're not going to be, like, efficient when they come out. They're going to, like, I guess there's a berry somewhat close that they can go to, but still quite a bit of ways of a walking distance. And just kind of in an odd spot.
Yeah, despite some of those mistakes, so it's not like Bruh's in a bad position, at least not yet. He's still in a fairly good one, though. We do see a lot of spears and horsemen coming out for Buzz.
How is Sanctity still 35 seconds away?
Because he hasn't had 3... his age up was super late. He didn't have any scholars except the 1 in there the entire game.
Golly.
Yeah, Buzz's build is definitely, I think, this is one where I don't think it was an efficient build. He's just slacking on scholars because of it, and he's not. This sacred site should have been taken by about 7 minutes around there. It's like 7:20 or something. Instead, we're getting the first sacred site should be hopefully taken here by 9 minutes and 10 seconds.
And just then is when you're going to start getting gold trickle in. He's got the gold for constant scholar production now, but that'll be 150 per minute. So, 4 minutes essentially for Castle Age, whereas Bruh, he is now looking like either on his way up, like to get closer to Castle, or going to transition heavy into feudal military and just go for full sacred site denial.
Yeah, and look at the mistake that Blaze is doing here. He's still not capping that sacred site. Sanctity's been done for a while now. He hasn't moved a scholar in that direction at all.
And he's right next to it. He's got a scholar in the middle, all that military spears and horsemen. So spears and horsemen with scholars against some spears, horsemen, but maybe some men-at-arms as well.
Yeah, we do see that Bruh's starting to mix in the men-at-arms now. He got a decent spear mass so that he can take out the horsemen quickly. And then now he's starting to add in those men-at-arms because I think a mistake is also there's no archery range by Buzz, and we're just now getting that sacred site over a minute after Sanctity finished.
Yeah, it's just these little things that really can start adding up. It's not, 1, 2, or 3. It's all these things that, a little bit delayed feudal time, a little bit means a little bit delayed sanctity, and then even later onto the sacred site, which really, you said, 7 minutes and some change. He's getting it 3 minutes later than what people typically do.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, that's 450 gold he's missing out on because of that delay, which is quite a bit when you think about it. That's a lot of scholars. He's only moving out. I mean, he's got a big army. Like, that army is actually pretty scary, but he's only got 2 scholars. So the healing isn't going to be as big of a factor like it normally would. If he had 5 scholars, I think he's going to win this fight. And he might still win the fight, but he's going to win it more single-handedly.
It's still harder to take those fights under the town center when it's actually firing down and there aren't enough scholars to just mass heal. throws away one of the spearmen, taking a decent little fight. Bruh just needs to kind of try to pick off a unit at a time. Tried to send a few horsemen around to raid, but was very unsuccessful, and they just kind of got chased off.
Yeah, I mean, if he had 5 scholars, 6 scholars right now, he could move into this and just laugh as the town center does nothing because of the heal.
Dropping a market.
Really?
I don't know why.
And he's actually making farms. I think this is a huge mistake. I mean, well, okay, actually,
I get the farms around the chapel a little bit early on, trickle them in, especially if you're that heavy on the wood. But like, you have so many resources that you can take near.
I did forget. I forgot that there's a lot of horsemen by Buzz. So actually, it makes more sense because he hasn't walled off yet. And now he's taken the hunts. So actually it makes a little more sense because it's a little safer to have it closer to that than on hunts where you can get raided. But he's walling now so that he can obviously secure both those hunts.
And okay, he's starting to long distance gather wood from his TC. Hasn't built a lumber camp at all this game yet.
I don't like this move out by Bruh. There's no reason to move out here. He's about to go Castle Age. I think he should just pull back.
Play safe.
Yeah, play it safe. Whoa, I accidentally...
Might even need to give up the TC.
Honestly, I think he might.
I think you just give up the TC, you pull back villagers from it, and you just keep yourself alive, take your Castle Age, and take your advantage from there.
And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. If I were him, I would probably use emergency repairs on it, just to buy time. But then maybe not. Maybe it's better to just save it for when you get home, because he is going castle right now with the Regnitz Cathedral. Buzz is not quite close to Castle. He's about halfway to Castle Age. But he does have a massive army, but he has no scholars with his army.
I love how the 2 horsemen just draw away some of the army and hope to stall out Buzzblaze army for a little longer, but Buzzblaze doesn't fall for the trick, just continues to push up a little bit, sends a scholar for the sacred site on the opposite side, being a little greedy. So we'll see if he ends up capping all 3 real quick.
Yeah, and I like what Bruh did there, by the way, because like I said, I do love what you said about the 2. I like the wall he did that he threw down there, buying him that precious time to get those upgrades and units out while his Castle Age is kicked in.
Buzzblade has snagged a deer from the opposite side as he has gotten professional scouts from his free upgrades.
Oh no!
Oh!
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of villagers go down there. So that second TC, he never really had a big lead with that second TC, unfortunately. I mean, even at his peak, it was like 8 villagers, but now he's only 1 villager ahead. But he is... Oh, I thought there was a relic inside his base, but I guess not.
Yeah, no relic secured. Even the one on the opposite side is being cut off by Buzzblaze right now.
But without the scholars, Bruh's army is a lot stronger. He can take this fight easy. But Buzz is about to hit Castle Age, and he's going to snag the relic closest to Bruh's base.
Yeah, but the big thing here, though, if the fight happens at all for Buzzblade, he loses just because he doesn't have those upgrades coming in. But just how you said, going to plan on snagging up all those relics, which he should be able to do, as he should have scholars spread out on the map already.
Yeah, he hasn't really spread them out, which is a mistake. Like, he's planning on snagging the one by HRE's base. But, I mean, Bruh's not even grabbing the relic. Like, he could sneak that relic since Buzz isn't reacting. Oh, here we go, though.
Fight going down in the middle.
We have archers. We have 10 men-at-arms, but there is healing now. And the thing about men-at-arms is their DPS just isn't that strong. So even though they're Castle Age against Feudal Age, I think the healing's more than enough to clean this up.
Yep, not looking good for Bruh, as Buzzblaze is going to clean up the rest of that, have a very, very healthy army, and have the relic that was closest to Bruh behind this. So Deadly, while it looked like it might have been in a bad position earlier, he looks like he will clean this up quite easy.
Yeah, and this is kind of why I wanted to say I don't think this matchup is HRE favored anymore, is because Deadly players have realized how strong Scholar healing is, to where Men-at-Arms just can't kill the army because they don't do the damage. So it doesn't matter. Even if you're an age behind, you have a huge army plus the scholars, and bam, your army doesn't die as Delhi.
Deer are slowly still getting stolen.
Yep, and that's another denied relic.
Quad ram being dropped. Oh, Buzzblade wants to end
Yeah,
this.
Buzzblaze is like, it's time to get this game over with. He's got a bunch of crossbows. We only have 4 barracks for Bruh. No relics at all. He's not going to get a single relic this game.
Nope. Should be a nice 5 for Buzzblaze. He still has a scout and horseman on the south side, on the opposite side of the walls.
I saw that. Yeah, he's still taking the deer.
It's hilarious. 5 rams being dropped. Oh my, doing the ram dance.
Yep, and we see we only have like 13, 14 men at arms.
I mean, that's not even close to enough.
No, and there's, like I said, there's a good group of crossbows. I mean, there's 12 crossbows. I mean, 19 crossbows. Sorry, yeah, more than enough to deal with this.
Yeah, 12's even enough to one-shot a men at arms, which we know how these high elo players are. They got more than enough APM to just kite out some of these slower units, especially when you have a nice tanky front line and a nice healing supportive back line.
Yep, and I'm just struggling to see a way that Bruh's going to hold us. Like, horsemen aren't going to do it. There's still spearmen, I think. Yeah, there's still... Like yeah, there's 14 spearmen still.
Yeah, emergency repairs can't hold against 5 rams. If it were 1 or 2, you can kind of stall out for a good little bit. But 5 just means everything's getting wiped.
Yeah, and he's even spreading his army because he's worried about mangonels. But there's not a single mangonel here. I don't think there's any way that Bruh's gonna take this on. And he's gonna lose his Regnants, which is the most useless Regnants ever, because there's 0 relics. I think
Horsemen on top of the farms on the chapel.
And I think this is just gonna be. He emergency repairs the Regnants. We now know the patch works on that. I haven't tested it, so good to know. But
look at the emergency repair just trying to heal up 5 rams.
Yeah, Bruh knows that he's dead. He's just kind of, doing his, he's just trying his best, what he can do, but there's really not much he can do, unfortunately. And then that's game. Now, I do agree that I don't think Bruh was playing his A game this series. I've seen Bruh play a lot better than this as well. Could just be an off day. We all have it. You can just look at me all the time. I always have off days. But Buzz takes that 2-0 in a pretty convincing series, I would say. I don't think there was a single point in that second game where I thought Bruh was gonna really take that game.
No, I kind of agree. Like it was like right ideas but poor execution.
Ban is non-global. Oh,